What's going on, and welcome to Black Kings Free Game. Now, I tell you guys that every episode is special, right? But this one right here is special to me, special to my heart, because this is the real deal. I mean, you can cut the music off on that one. It is the real deal. You hear me? So we're going to go in like this. Hailing from Liberty County, born August 2nd in 1949. 47. Excuse me, y'all. I won't get beat up. His wife is Olivia, and they hail out of Midway, Georgia. He has a bachelor's in science in St. Leo University in Florida, and also a Juris Doctor John Marshall School. We have with us the representative from the state of Georgia, District 168, Mr. Al Williams.
Man, I don't want you to stop.
Yeah, you keep going.
I'm eating that up.
I know.
Look, I'm eating it up too, because here I have, in the presence of everyone, is the man, the legend. It's not even a myth. We can't even defame him like that. So we have Representative Al Williams in the building, everybody. And one thing I want to say is thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, we're here, you guys. You know, if you want to ask questions, you can. But when we just got to look at the record, let's see just the record.
Where do you want to start?
Well, I'm going to start right here.
Where you gonna start?
Look, these are some of his legislative committees, some in the past, but even in the present. He's a member of the Appropriations Committee. He's a member of the Defense and Veterans Affairs Committee. Mm-hmm. A member of the Economic Development and Tourism Committee, a member of the Game, Fish, and Parks Committee. Oh, we're going to have to holler at you about that. The Regulated of Industries Committee, members of the Rules Committee, also subcommittee on the Public Safety and Transportation. Now, those are the current committees. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Y'all don't even want to hear the former. The Georgia State House of Representatives Economic Development and Tourism Committee. Former Secretary of Georgia House of Representatives, and that's with the state now. Mm-hmm. That's not just with us. Like, you just can't touch it. Professional experience. He was the president of Techno Systems, and he is to this day. Also served in the United States military in Vietnam. Now that was, I'm going to say that was a war, not discrediting any other wars, but that war, we didn't have any of those technological advances that we do now. You know, it was foot in front. Let's go. So as far as his other duties in Liberty County, there's just a long line of duties, and we just salute you again on that. That's the biggest intro I ever done. How did I do? Did I do all right?
You were very kind. I didn't want you to stop.
Look, he could have kept going. Yeah. Them accolades piled up.
Yeah, right?
Fast.
So, how was your week?
Week was fantastic. You know, I'm in the middle of a campaign, so it's kind of like a prize fight. You run, you hit the big bag, you do the little bag, but you keep running, you're getting ready for the big night, and the key is to train hard, but not overtrain, because you don't want to peak too early. I want to peak on Tuesday morning.
Right.
Now, as far as everyone else, Kings, we're going to go to King Alway. How was your week so far?
Well, week has been, like I said, yesterday has been one of those crazily busy week. And it continues like that today. Again, like King Boxing was asking, again, we are in the 30s today, 30, 37, 39 people. So it's been nice. It's been good.
Look, it looked like his glass is tired. So we appreciate you joining in, King Holloway. Oh God, we got to go to King Myers, y'all. Look, he's had an exciting week. Our niece is on the way. Trinity is coming. So how you feeling since yesterday? Because we're on our edge because she could come at any moment.
That's where I'm at. I'm on my edge, man. I'm excited, anxiety, everything, man. So I'm enjoying it. The experience is great. So definitely enjoying it.
All right, you having to buy weird meals at any hours of the night?
No, you know what?
Tip been good on that.
She didn't get any cravings. I was the one who got everything.
We can see. Okay, that's where that extra 15, 20 pounds
that weight came from, man.
Wow.
So I'm like, I'm ready for her to come out so I can stop gaining so much weight.
Yeah, but what happens if it still keeps coming? Is that still her fault? I'm just asking. I'm just asking a question. But anyway,
I get it. We'll talk about this offline.
Oh, okay. Right. Look, I hear somebody's phone. I don't know if it's mine. Oh yeah, it was. Anyways, King Boston, how about you, sir? Since yesterday, has there been any new updates in your life?
Today was actually a wonderful day. It was the first day that my employee was kind of out on his own in the truck by himself without me, and it was kind of like leaving your baby with the babysitter. And
For the first time.
Yeah, for the first time. It's like you kind of glad you could step out, but you're still thinking about your baby. But he did a wonderful job, and the good thing about this town is it's so small that
you gonna know
word gets around fast. So I was at the bank actually, and Joseph Grant, we do his pest control, and he was like, "Hey man, your guy did an excellent job." Okay. And he's one of the ones I know he'll tell me. Yes. He'll tell me. So that was real great to hear, and I did relay that message to my employee, and that helped boost his confidence more. So I'd say today was a productive day.
Look, and y'all don't take it lightly. We're not saying Joe be snitching, but nah. This is family to us. Right. So he gonna look out on the side of he wants him to conduct himself in a good manner.
Yeah. Shout out to Joseph Grant, State Farm.
Yeah, shots out. Also, we got some people in there watching. Let's see. Shouts out to Miss Hayward, Chris Reed, Jackson. Sheriff Bowman, how are you, sir? Thank you. Doing, sir? Thank you so much for watching. We'll have Sheriff Bowman in here next week on Friday. That's been confirmed. My week since yesterday it's been great, y'all. For real. Good. In the real estate game, you meet people, but you don't ever see the end result of what you really want until about 30 days or 45 days. But meeting good people and seeing that they're excited about the process is really just hit home with me. I really enjoyed it. So you guys, we're going to have to get to the nitty gritty. Yeah. And when I mean the nitty gritty, we got to come with some more accolades. All right, I got to cut the music on this one. So, Representative Al.
Yes.
You have awards for the 2008 Trumpet Award, Liberty County NAACP Ralph Quarterman Award, the Alpha Kappa Alpha Award, recognition in the nationally acclaimed magazine Black Enterprise. Man, golly, we can only hope. Recognition in the Atlanta Tribune, honorary Doctor of Humanities degree from Trinity Bible College. Now, let me tell you where this hails from. This hails from Alexander and Miss Carey. Alexander is his father. Miss Carey is his mother. And his father was a hard-working man. And also was his mother. She taught for, I believe you said, over 46 years?
46 years.
46 years in the Liberty County High School.
And Bryan County.
And Bryan County. That's just amazing greatness. Right. And shoot, we honor the greatness that we see on an everyday basis, but right now he's sitting with us.
Sitting amongst greatness.
Trailblazers. Right. It's a beautiful thing. So, Al, or excuse me, y'all, I just, I call him that. Don't take anything by it. But from your journey, let's start at how it started off. When was it the first time you knew that you fell in love with helping your people in the political way?
Very honestly, in 1960, I was 13 years old, and I asked my mother and my aunt. I aggravated them so long they gave in. And my Aunt Sylvia was driving, and my mother rode with me. And we rode to houses in the neighborhood, and I was knocking on doors asking people to come out and vote for John Fitzgerald Kennedy for president.
Okay.
And it kind of grew from there. And in 1964, I was 16 years old. My mentor was Ralph Quarterman, who was a dynamic leader here, had a sawmill. He founded the NAACP. And I was his armor bearer before black folks started having armor bearers.
Oh, wow.
Because when he would reach for his briefcase, I'd have it, walk him to the car. I was just fascinated by him. And I started going to state NAACP conventions under his tutelage. And he died in 1964. I was 16 years old, and his wife asked me to speak at his funeral.
Wow.
That was the very first funeral I ever spoke at. And
At 16.
I was 16.
Wow.
16 years old. I had a speech prepared. It was ending with the last 13 lines of William Cullen Bryant's Thanatopsis. I had practiced all week. I had worked on it. I was concerned. I'd written my little speech, and I was standing in the back of the church, Bakerton Baptist Church in Walthallville, waiting for me to come up. And before me, I was vice president of the Youth Council of the state of Georgia for NAACP. And Ralph Wesley W. Law, who's a legend in this state, he was the state president. And he stood up to speak before me. And I've never forgotten. It was May the 29th, 1964. And he said, the tallest tree in the forest has fallen. If you'd been here for him, he'd still be alive. Mr. Quarterman was only 46 years old.
Wow.
Massive heart attack. And something happened standing there listening to him. And I had my little speech. I'd been peeping at it, pull it out my pocket, just, brushing up on it. And I reached in my pocket and I pulled my speech out and I balled it up and I threw it out the back door of that church.
Now, there's a rumor that you haven't written a speech or anything since of that age of 16.
Since May 29th, 1964, that was the last speech I wrote.
What makes that date so significant?
Because it was the day we buried my mentor, my hero, Ralph Quarterman.
Wow.
And I'm not big on dates because I don't specifically remember that day. I remember. And Brenda Withers, who is a surviving daughter of his, when we funeralized Mr. Quarterman's widow almost 50 years later, I spoke at the funeral over 50 years later. And I did what I'd intended to do at his funeral. I did the last 13 lines of William Cullen Bryant's Thanatopsis in honor of her. But Brenda could not believe when I told her that day. I remember what she and her mother had on sitting on the front row. They had on white dresses. And this was almost unheard of in the black community to wear white that many years ago. They were beautiful. It was a great homecoming and homegoing. And I have a philosophy about leadership, and that is having lived it. And no matter what you think, when you jump out because you think you're ready to lead, leading is something like a doctor going to high school, college, med school, years of preparation. Leadership is the same thing. You can't become a leader because you decided one day you were going to lead something. I know for a fact it takes 20 hard years of constant involvement to become a acceptable leader. Then you got about 10 more years of doing what you do. So in 30 years, you can be a respectable leader, not in your head, but in front of the people. Because everybody that says that they're a leader, the people don't agree.
Yeah.
So you can't lead anybody if ain't nobody following you.
That's true.
You're right.
And so after years of preparation, that's why it's always amazed me how folk jump up and say, I'm going to run for such and such a thing, and I have nothing to look at to show me how you're going to act. How did you prepare yourself? What will you do in different situations? You should have been active in something. And I ain't talking about no play thing. I'm talking about something of substance that can help people. And when then you can judge who people are.
Yes.
Because there's sometimes a big difference in who we think we are and who we are.
Yes.
And so it took years of preparation for me. And believe me, within 10 years, I thought I was ready. Oh, I was the catch me out. I was the first African American in Georgia, in rural Georgia, to run for the State House. I ran in 1970. I ran for the State House. And had it won, it was stolen by crooked paper ballots in McIntosh County. But I was the only one at that time that didn't know I was not ready, I was not prepared, and I couldn't even afford to go. Sometimes we're ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
And you have to, a principal of mine told me when I was telling him how I was going to change the world, Mr. Samuel Smith, he told me, Al, above all else, to thine own self be true.
Yes.
So in the wee hours of the morning, tell yourself the truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, analyze yourself, but do it honestly. Don't let folk tell you and swell your head. You've got to believe that you're grounded, and don't lead people. It's like in the military, and my brother here is a veteran. It's in the military. Can you imagine the catastrophe being led by a leader that does not know how to lead? You got people's lives in your hands.
Right.
And it's the same way out here in the world. Just because you jump up one day and you think you start a little nonprofit and you this and you that and you can do something, no, that does not make you or qualify you to be called a leader. And just because I decided one day that I want to put doctor in front of my name, and I have not had the discipline to do the things necessary, that does not make me a doctor. You might call me a doctor, but I'm not, because I have not prepared myself. And also, when we get ready to go out there, if I want to go into the business you're in, the extermination business, because I can buy the equipment doesn't mean I know how to do your job.
Yes. Yes.
Very much so.
I stay in my lane. I don't know what to tell people about leaf filter. That's your lane. So I have never surrounded myself with people that are dumber than me.
Thank you.
My
Yes, sir.
associates
real.
got to be smarter than me. How can I learn if I got to talk down?
Yes. All the time.
My mentors have been legendary. Ralph Quarterman, Wesley W. Law, Samuel Smith, James Hall, legendary folk that I could look at, and black preachers who were nationally known, Bill Jones, Gardner C. Taylor, Roswell Jackson, Cameron Alexander. These were legends in religion. So I just listened to them. I wanted to be like them.
Yes.
And when I was about 14 years old, I was sitting in a meeting at Dorchester. And we are going really, really strong. And the meeting's getting ready to end. I'm the youngest person there. And as the meeting is closing, Reverend Relaford, who has many relatives here in Liberty County, he was a blind Pentecostal preacher. He was sitting there, he had a voice like a lion. And when they got ready to close, he yelled out, "Wait a minute." They were getting ready to close. I said, "What is it, Reverend?" He said, "Is Al here?" I was shocked. I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Come up and tell us something." I'm 14 years old. These were elders. But I know I didn't say much, but I didn't know he was getting me
You
ready.
said ready.
He was getting me ready. And we're one of the few cultures. I'm talking about African Americans now, not Africans, because we're one of the few cultures that show so little respect for the elders. Every other culture,
Yeah.
let's go to the elders.
Yes.
The Bible says when there is sickness among you, take them to the elders. Because of wisdom. It also says, young man, I send you because you're strong. Old man, I send you because you know the way.
Yes.
We stack our folk away in nursing homes.
Yeah.
We show them disrespect wherever we see them. We don't moderate our language. We do everything in front of them, and we've got to stop. Now, that's part of leadership that I had to learn. I thought one time I was very smart. Then I found out I just knew folk that were smart. That was important. Folk like Maynard Jackson, first black mayor of Atlanta, was my dear friend. And he told me one time after his divorce from his first wife, Bunny, who was my friend too, he said, "Our politics is a jealous mistress. It will swoop you away from your family. You will miss football games. Was no soccer in the black community then. You miss baseball. You miss all of that." I missed my 3 oldest boys. I regret it now. My 3 oldest sons did not get enough from me because I was too busy giving. Folk calling me, "Go get my son out of jail. Come do this, do that." And I'm all over the country speaking and talking to people. Sacrifice. That's part of leadership training.
Yes.
Leadership training. I need to stop. Let me get
Look. We are captured because what you're basically telling us is that the attachment that people have to you is the attachment that you had to your mentors, huh?
That's it. I just love them.
Yeah.
And folk, I'll tell you, this is very honest. And Reggie Pierce told me that I'm the only person in Liberty County that goes to more funerals than him. You see?
Wow.
I go because I respect and love my people. So I go to about 35, 40 a year, and I speak at about 25 or 30. Because I love my people. And I don't love my people based on their socio-economic circumstances.
Right.
Some of the people I love the hardest are some of the poorest people. Some of the poorest. But if you start choosing who you're going to love, you're a hypocrite and a liar, and the truth's not in you.
Yes.
Because you can't pretend to lead people, and you pick and choose who you're going to love. And when I say love, I'm talking about genuine love. I'm not talking about a cat grin because you want to vote.
Right.
I'm talking about when they're at their deepest sorrowful moment, when they're in need, when they need housing, when the child needs a job or he needs to get out of jail. You got to be there. You got to show your love. Love is as love does.
Yeah.
Some of us like to talk about love, but we don't know nothing about love. And I listen to some of the new candidates, and I'm in a race. Folk talk about change. Change just to change is nothing. Change for improvement is good.
Ooh.
Right.
If you ain't got nothing to bring to the table for a change, you're wasting everybody's time.
Preach, preacher.
You can't talk about you want to. Hey, if I want to change this shirt, bitch, if I take it off, I need to have another one to put on.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
And so don't change just to change. The reason I go to my friend Dr. Alway, who's been my primary care physician for years,
Yes, sir.
is because first, I know it's hard. He and I can talk.
Yes.
I don't like nobody come in, hit my chest once or twice and walk out the door. I want to talk about my condition.
Yes, sir.
And I know as a black doctor, he knows my body better than a white doctor.
Uh-huh.
And he knows when he looks at my blood pressure, he doesn't measure it over something some pharmacy company sent. He knows my identity as an African American. My physiology, my makeup is different.
Yes.
So and my women are different. They ain't flat. He has to examine them differently. So that's why we as a people, where we sometimes fail, and I have relationship with everybody in the State House. I don't care if you're Republican or whatever. I got a relationship, but I understand my people, and my people don't have to worry about me being in a certain crowd and changing what I say.
Yes.
Yes.
I got to be able to stand up and face me as a man, because I always wanted to die on my feet, not on my knees.
Look, that's what you really call standing on business. Yeah, and also talking about standing on business, everybody that's watching right now, would you please go ahead and hit that like button? I want you guys to hit that like, hit that love button, send it, share it, do it right now. We have the legend in the building. Representative Al Williams for District 168, but really, he covered everyone.
Right.
So if you didn't know, now you know. Now, I know that he's had a busy week, and it was one week I had called you. You were down there for, I think, a sheriff's conference or something like that, or was it something dealing with the police department in the?
I'm trying to remember because I have reached a point. I've got a couple of people, and Rosby Frazier is one of them, that when somebody engages me, I call her immediately to schedule me because I tried it, and then I'd have 2 and 3 different things.
Double book.
Triple book sometimes. And triple book. And it's tough. So I'm not sure, but I wanted to come, and we had a real conflict, and I do have conflicts, but and my wife has been very tolerant because people don't understand the sacrifice that a family must make if you're going to do your job and do it right. There's not a community in this county, I can honestly say, that I have not touched in some way. I was in a church Sunday. I do about 3 or 4 Sunday during this time of the year. And I always tell them, you don't see me just when I want you to help me. You see me year round.
Right.
I grew up, and white folks used to come, and the ushers would take them to the front seat, sometimes all the way to the pulpit. And then when we started getting elected, some of our preachers wouldn't even recognize you when you get to the church.
No.
And I had to call them out. They wouldn't recognize you. And I said, we struggled to get here. And all you could at least do is give us some recognition.
And take some pride in it.
Take some pride in it. I have some spots that I'm proud of. 1963, I marched on Washington, 16 years old.
Wow.
I went to the March on Washington, heard Dr. King in person give his I Have a Dream speech. Heard him try it out on a group of us at Dorchester Center.
I was going to ask that. Didn't he start writing his speech there?
This was one of the places. He would go different places and give bits and pieces of it. And I didn't realize until I was listening to him that day that he tried some of it out on us. 2 weeks before he went to Washington, he was in Chicago and he went to Pilgrim Baptist Church. Y'all too young to remember Mahalia Jackson.
No, we know Mahalia. I know Mahalia.
Mahalia was the queen of gospel.
Right.
And that's her church, Pilgrim. And he spoke at Pilgrim and he tried some of it out on them. And when he got to Washington, Doc had an earned PhD. He was brilliant, 26 years old when he got his PhD. When he got up to give his speech, he had his well-prepared notes, and he was going through a drone and just a sophisticated preacher. And Mahalia Jackson was sitting behind him, and she'd sung before he got up. And she got happy and hollered out, "Tell them about the dream." And he moved off his prepared manuscript and delivered something that will live forever. Yeah, I have a dream. When I left there, a year and a half later, I was working during the summer, registering people to vote here in Liberty County and all over the South, Mosques and Americas, down in St. Augustine, Meridian, Mississippi, everywhere. 17 times I went to jail. But one of the great moments was in April of 1965. I went to Selma because I had to go, and marched to Montgomery from Selma, beat unconscious on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And it was something that's just in my heart. So when I hear people who decided that they want to take my seat, when I hear people talk about what I haven't done, my question is, what have you done? Where were you? Do I see you out here?
That's a good question.
Trying to help somebody. Come on now. Don't knock me if you hadn't got something better. And your record speaks for yourself. My record speaks for me. I've been with people all of my life. My goodness, I was in, and they wrote this in a national article during the summer of '65, and Alice Walker was here, by the way. She wrote The Color Purple, and I dated Alice the whole summer of '65.
Look, Color Purple by Mister.
I had some hair.
Had a little hair
I had a lot of hair. So we had a great summer together, and she got me out of jail one time in Savannah and on a pumped up charge. But I was coming from teaching a citizenship class. I've been teaching citizenship classes since 1965. I came from doing a citizenship class on what is now Dunleavy. It was dirt then. 3 guys, white boys, were trying to run me off the road, and I'm trying to keep them from getting beside me, and they finally got beside me. And I'm trying to keep from running in the ditch, trying to stay on the road, and the guy in the front seat had a 38. And he stuck it out the window. And you talk about seeing your life flash in front of you. But I could see the cylinder as it turned when he pulled the trigger.
No.
But it snapped.
What?
It snapped.
Look, the gun jammed or something?
No, he just snapped.
Oh, it just snapped.
Probably a bad round, something like that. Or maybe a bad pistol without a good firing pin. Something happened.
Yeah.
But that tells you, and that's why, you can call it whoever you want to, but that's why you got to have some faith sometimes.
You better believe it.
Because that didn't just happen. A lot of times when I speak, I open with, for those of you who follow the crescent, Amalas alaikum. For those of you that follow the state, the Star of David, peace be unto you. And for those who follow a risen Savior like myself, peace also be to you in the name of the Father. And for those of you who have no God, what up? But you cover all your bases.
What up?
But you ought to have somebody in your life that's bigger than you.
Right.
Because I tell folk, I love Kirk Franklin and the contemporary music. I love to listen to it sometimes. I tell people all the time, all that music's good, but it's designed to just make you move.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you go in the hospital, Mitch, and Big Mama has been given up by the doctors, you don't want to hear Stomp. That was one of Kirk Franklin's big ones.
That's
You
true.
want to hear Father, I stretch my hands to thee.
Yeah.
Because you want to get close to the cross then. This ain't no plaything. Big Mama about to leave me.
Right.
And so that's what you got to have some faith. I don't care who you believe in, because I know who I believe in. But you ought to believe in somebody bigger than you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
That's
ought
real.
to.
Yes. That is
Don't
real.
go ahead. You're going to make me talk in a minute.
No,
You gonna make me talk in a minute. You gonna make me
that's
talk
what we
now.
here to do.
I always wonder, your shoes is just too big to fill.
I don't know about that now. My wife might not agree with that.
I mean, I've been here now for about 17 years,
Yeah.
and I've never seen anybody do what you do for this community.
Thank you.
And when I hear you talk, what goes through my head is, he's a legend. You are really, really a legend.
Yes.
And we've had this talk one-on-one before, and I said, what's up? This is just too big for anybody to feel. So, and as long as you keep fit, I think you should continue to be running and everything.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Tell these folk, what tribe? What is your tribe in Africa?
Yeah.
I'm from the Yoruba tribe.
Yoruba tribe. You see.
Yoruba tribe.
And see,
Yes.
that's important because it takes a village.
Yes.
And so we called our tribes differently, but it might have been the Dryer tribe,
Yes.
Boston tribe,
Yes.
the Myers tribe. But these tribal instincts came to us on the Middle Passage. We left, and folk talk about our and I'm a Pride Gullah Geechee. They talk about our Geechee talk. But what I tell them is, they left the west coast of Africa, speaking usually Swahili, and came into the Caribbean. where they met French and then left the Caribbean and came to these shores where they met English. And so there was a combination of 3 dialects. And out of that came the Gullah Geechee dialect, and it is a dialect. It's not a language, it's a dialect. And when and there is no shame. For years, folk made us ashamed of who we are. And I told some people the other night, Doc, for years they never told us the real story of Africa.
Nope.
The cradle of civilization.
Yeah.
The only thing we knew were the crazy Tarzan movies. You see?
It was the white Tarzan.
The white Tarzan. So we never won. We never talked about Takazulu.
Right.
And all the other great chieftains that taught the art of war to the world. And didn't talk about leaving on a slave ship and having okra in your hand. Taught folk what okra were in America. And getting here and teaching them how to cultivate and raise rice, because they didn't know this. We had been raising rice. They didn't teach the art where medicine started in Africa, doing brain surgery when folk were living in caves.
You talking about Timbuktu now?
Yes, sir.
Everybody,
It's there.
They made jokes of it. They made jokes of it.
Timbuktu was so wealthy.
Yes.
Until he went on a pilgrimage. And everywhere he stopped, he changed the economics of the whole area. Because he was so loaded with gold and
Mansa
precious
Musa.
jewelry. Mansa Musa was so
Yes.
full of gold. And so, why make me shame of who I am when I have a legacy like that to look back on?
Oh, I got y'all know I have my beliefs on that. Because, and I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm just saying.
Just saying what you're saying.
You look, right now we know that a lot of churches and a lot of countries have started recognizing that the people in the Bible they were speaking of were melanated, right? For a long time, the Savior and everything about him was depicted as a certain color. Okay, so when you walk in your house and you feel like you're less than, when you see on the wall, well, oh, they got to be better than me. You have to hide that from people's eyes that you see that are so powerful. I mean, that would scare the mess out of you too. You're like, man, that ain't nothing about me. I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are we finding out now that the 300 might, the Romans and all these people that they're talking about might have been melanated folks? And the whole time we watching movies, they're depicting them in a different way. When you don't know where you come from, you lose connectivity of who you are.
Yes.
And that's very important. Because I say this almost every show. How is it that once they said they freed us from slavery that we formed all of these cities? And then how is it that they were destroyed and then there's nothing about it in the history books, not even the destruction?
Well, you got to remember that we were taught that Columbus discovered America.
Well, he discovered the people too that was already here,
I
right?
said, yeah. It's the same old stuff.
Yes.
And we have so much, but because we have sometimes a mentality that makes us resent each other. And and then we had some of it in Africa because we had some folks sold us into slavery.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the dollar.
Yeah.
And so we have to remember
Yes.
that it's kind of like the giant red oaks and sequoias of California. A fella said one time, and all the hurricanes would come, and everything would fall, but the sequoia would stand up. He said, why? And so they got an agronomist who bored down into the dirt to see what made this tree stand. And when he got deep down there, he found out that the roots intertwined and they were wrapped up. So if you push that way, the roots over here would pull you back. And that's what you call unity. And everybody's so wrapped up in making sure everybody does good. See, I go to Dr. Alvey not because I have to, but because I want to.
Right.
I go there. I drive from my house in Midway down to 17. And the other night I was late. I had to be in Savannah. But I drove the back way this way from Baconton
E.B. Cooper.
down to E.B. Cooper to stop at Buzzy's and buy some
right.
gas.
Yes.
And I go out of my way.
Yeah.
My friend C.L. Barrett, who's been my friend over 50 years, when he built that station in 1970, we hauled blocks, a pickup truckload at the time from Savannah, and kited checks to build the place. Built it and built his service station. We did things, and then I have a problem when rubber ain't nothing but rubber. When you buy a tire and you think Walmart's mission is better than his mission. You see,
That's
That's facts.
we were taught that certain ice was colder than our ice. And they would have us believe that our doctors are not as qualified. As watch out, Dr. Julian, who discovered plasma, you know. but you all not supposed to be as ready as the folk were. So we have to get beyond that. That means that we have to be conscious in our spending. Because if I spend it at Buzzy, it's going to turn over 5 or 6 times in my community, you know, tithe with it at church and do this and do that, and I'm going to see it again. Don't you know Jews taught us that?
Oh, yeah.
They keep the money and do it among themselves and build up the community. Indians will help each other come over here and buy a motel.
Yes.
Everybody
Yeah.
will do good. But what we do is we get mad
Tear down.
when we see one of us doing good.
Yes.
Hey, he want to knock you down. He must be doing dope buying
yes.
that car.
Crab in the bucket.
Crabs.
Yeah.
And the crabs. But until we learn that because we are a minority, if we don't come together and help each other, you gotta help each other. I got a habit when I'm in Atlanta. The folk like to run up and wash your windshield and mess with you and stuff.
Yes.
I take a few cards and I have a scripture and I put a $5 bill in there. And when they run up to the window, I hand it to them. I've been told, Al, you know what they're gonna do with that money. I said, no, but they might read what I put in there.
Yeah.
And plus, when I give them that money, there's another one of my favorite sayings is Jacob shall not lose his reward if Israel does not hear. It's on them then. It's not on me.
Yes.
And I give it to you, it's on you. If you want to snort it or smoke it, that's still on you.
Yes.
But I tried to help you.
I got a question now. When you're saying all of these things, especially about the families, and we got into the respect, do you remember, because somebody told me this and I want to know if it's true.
Okay.
They said that their parents worked at a puckwood factory. They said puckwood. He was a puckwood. So instead of getting payment in money,
I know where you're going. It was not pulpwood. It was a timber sawmill.
it was a sawmill.
Where you
Yes.
sawed out timber.
Yes.
I am a living witness. One day I was a little boy. And at that time, we didn't ask for a pair of Nikes. I just wanted a nickel. So I asked my daddy for a nickel. And he opened it and blew the sawdust off of it. And I tiptoed. And I said, Daddy, what is that?
Is that the
Picked
chip?
it up. It was a little piece of tin. And he said, son, that's called Babbitt.
Babbitt. That's what he said.
That's called Babbitt. And it had a hole in the middle. And it had C.B. Jones Lumber Company written on it. The Constitution specifically says no one shall coin or print money but the government.
Yes.
But you got paid half in theirs, a part in theirs, part in real money, and so therefore you could only spend it at the company store.
That's what it is.
And
Yes.
so, hey, that's called another form of slavery. But my daddy used to let me stand on a piece of paper, me and my brothers, and take a pencil and draw around our shoe. When he'd go down to C.B. Jones, he took the paper and measured the shoe. Tough if it was a little tight around the edges or on the top. That's your shoe. Because I didn't know shoes came in but one color until I was almost grown. But when you look back at the struggle, and I look back at our children who never had the struggle, these kids don't know what it is to go to bed at night. And there ain't no central air, no central heat. In the wintertime, you grab some at the fireplace and take off and jump in the bed. No air condition, it's hot. no, but if I've seen more wasted than would do good by a family now. And folks should realize that we have all of these conveniences because of the struggle.
Yes.
When I hear folk talking about we ain't doing this and we ain't doing that, we corrupt, where were you when we were kicking the door down for your butt to walk in?
There you go.
Now here you come prancing and talking stuff when you had nobody. I had a bunch of preachers endorse me, and I had a full-page ad. I hope y'all saw it in the Coastal Courier. I had the whole back page of the Coastal Courier last week. Had about 40 preachers. Young lady got on Facebook and said that the Constitution said you couldn't miss church and state, and then she said IRS code says that charities and churches can't do political partisan politics. And so I never answer Facebook, but I had to answer this one. I said, let me straighten you. Not verbatim here, but let me straighten you. No preacher or minister is a charity or a church. Because your pastor does not take your rights under the First Amendment away from you. The only thing it says is that you can't endorse in the name of the church. You can individually endorse anybody you want. And I said, now, if you don't believe it, sue me. And I'll defend it in court and show you where you're wrong. Don't play with Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and IRS code when you don't know how to interpret it.
Yes.
And so how you go into the State House and you can't even interpret what you read? See, and preachers, and some preachers got, years ago, recently, some preachers are scared. Worst thing ever happened to the black church was 501c3. Because everybody got quiet and got scared to say anything. The movement was born in the black church. That's where we met. That's where we walked out of I'm trying to remember, Brown's Chapel AME Church in Selma on our way to the Edmund Pettus Bridge. We formed at Brown's Chapel. And the church was where we came out of. And when the church abdicated leadership, the folk who took over, who know no God, gave us some trouble. You can't, if you don't know, you don't understand leadership, and you don't understand real good leadership, then you subject to follow anybody. I ain't interested in following the person who's the loudest mouth. I want to know who's solid and gonna be on the number. We got to get more solid. We got to get more solid. We got to become, I think about the elders again, dog. I remember when a preacher would be coming by, and the boys standing around having a nip for talking stuff, cussing hard. Everybody changed their tone.
Yes.
Showed some respect for the cloth. Now, you got no respect. How can you build a great community when you refer to your women by the H word, or W is the correct spelling? When we call them that, and then we call them the B word, and then we make it fantasy where young boys think that's what I got to call them if I'm going to get some respect on the streets. And we don't have respect. We expect teachers to raise our children. They got to raise your child and teach them. And your children looking at you. How can your children be somebody when you don't show any respect to anybody?
Yes, that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
You got to.
Now we were just to go back to that Babbitt, right?
Yes, Babbitt got you.
It really does. It really does, because I think about that because I know how fiscally, how it's important to be fiscal minded.
Yeah.
And finances. So what happened was these people were working at the sawmill, and instead of getting paid the money, they would give them the Babbitt. So they would they got a piece of paper, they wrote it down so that when they went to the general store that the sawmill owned, they'll give them their Babbitt. Now, from my understanding, in this store was everything you needed: your eggs, your groceries.
Well, wasn't in there you wasn't gonna get, so everything had to be in there.
Yeah.
That's the only place your money was.
So how is it? We never had our start, man. I mean, even if we wanted to be fiscally responsible or try to learn finances, it was taken from us because they instituted another form of currency for us.
Yeah.
Of course.
And it wasn't supposed to be.
You see, fiscal literacy now, we can teach it because some folk making some money. You didn't have enough money to do nothing but feed somebody.
Yeah.
Pay a little light bill if you had it, or sit in the dark. So you didn't have enough money to really save no money.
Right.
If you just working 50, 75 cents an hour,
You're in survival mode.
yeah, you're in survival mode. All I want to do is survive. And plus, we didn't have the opportunity because of that lack. Children learn fiscal responsibility from parents. If Dr. Alway goes and deposits some money, and he takes one of his children with him, they begin to appreciate the banking system.
Right.
And when we were growing up, and I'm guilty of this because I was a debit insurance salesman in my young life. We bought little policies for $400, $500, $1,000 at the most, paid on them every month, got the money up. You know what I wanted? My ambitions now seem relatively small. I just wanted to. I want to make $12,000 a year, which was astronomical. And I want to be able to afford a $10,000 life insurance policy. That would have meant I was fiscally across the hump when I was a young man. When I was 14, 15 years old, when I wasn't out doing my thing, I was working at the service station at the corner from 4 o'clock in the evening till 11 at night for $20 a week. And doing everything anybody else did, pumping gas, changing tires, checking air, washing windshields. $20 a week. But guess what?
Wow.
I could buy all my clothes.
Right.
I was kind of self-sufficient. And it taught me how to deal. But there was, Clay Evans James Cleveland used to sing a song, "No cross, no crown. Until you have borne a heavy cross, you can't wear a crown."
Yeah, you gotta go through something.
You got to go through something.
Yes.
Because fire sharpens for iron.
Right.
And you see, when you go through the fire, then you understand it. But when you raise a kid who has never had a responsibility, doesn't know anything about the fire, they get buried in the fire.
Oh, yeah.
They
Yeah.
can't come out of it when it comes.
Yeah.
They can't come out of it.
Because I know all these gentlemen at the table have been in the fire.
Couple times.
Yeah,
There you go,
times.
more than one.
Yes.
I used to tell my boys, y'all should never make a mistake in life. What you mean by that, Daddy? If you ask me before you do it, you won't. Because I made all the mistakes for you.
Yep.
You gotta do a check with me. I made them. And hey, these wings, when I first read, I told folks, don't worry about looking in my closet. Because if you open my closet, the skeletons will kill you. Don't look in my closet.
The cadaver in there will kill you.
Right. These wings been singing. I ain't no angel, but I tried. I'm trying to do better.
Yeah.
You know, I've tried. Well, I'm doing a whole lot better. Age, but anyhow, it'll bring a lot of changes about. But we got to be examples for each other. I'm proud of you young guys. I'm proud, and I've always been proud of Dr. Alway being here practicing medicine. The very first black doctor I ever saw in my life
Thank you.
was Dr. Simon Frazier. If you come out of here and go out to 84 or 17, he had a little office on the left there. That was his weekend home. And they used to call Dr. Simon Frazier the Black Santa Claus. He delivered so many free babies.
Oh, wow.
And they got a housing project named after him, Simon Frazier on MLK. But that was the first black doctor. He'd come by the house and he'd see you, and $4 or $5 that you paid when you could. But Dr. Simon Frazier, and then it was years. And then one of my true mentors was Dr. Wesley Ball. Ball was practiced out at Dorchester Center under the program. He had to practice in the rural after years, and he was a surgeon in Savannah. When I first ran for the State House in 1970, he gave me $100. That's quite a contribution.
Yeah.
Then he sent me to 6 of his friends in Savannah, and each one of them was supposed to give me $100, and they did until I got to one. His name was Mr. Stokes. He had a shoe rebuilding place on Montgomery. He was one of the wealthiest blacks in Savannah. You wouldn't look at him and know it, but he was a director of a bank. He had probably 100+ apartments. And I went by and I said, Mr. Stokes, yeah, little short guy. I said, Dr. Ball told me to stop. Oh, he told me you were coming. Glad to see you. I said, all right. And I'm getting all happy. And he looked at me a while, yeah, my people moving up. Then he hollered out, secretary, bring the checkbook. And back then, checkbooks were that big.
Yes.
She lugged it out there. She opened it. He kept talking, looking at me. Yes, sir. Good-looking young man, too. She said, Mr. Stokes, how much you want to make the check out for? Yeah, take money. Can't run no race without no money. Give him $1.
Hey, what?
$1.
If you come in my office in Atlanta, I have that check framed.
Oh, wow.
He gave it to me in September of 1970.
Wow.
And it's in a frame. $1.
So you didn't cash it?
And then I asked Dr. Ball, no, I couldn't. I said, I'm going to keep this one. And Dr. Ball said, nah, he only gave me $1. He said, you did good. He usually don't give nobody nothing.
Yo, I know he had to be frugal then.
Right. He was holding on to his money.
Nobody.
Talking good too, and they say $1.
Like
$1.
Go on and write that check.
That check. Give me that $1.
I'll never forget that. I'll never, ever
E on there. Oh, God.
never forget that.
Look, with some things, I'm going to go back again. Now, when the whole reform of this Section 8 and government assistance, right?
Right.
So I've heard stories from around Liberty County that there would be men, white gentlemen, that would come to people's doors and they would offer families $25, I think it was a week. But they couldn't have the husbands or any man in the household. And they would come back regularly to make sure that there was no presence of men in that home. Do you remember that?
That's almost dead on it. I should remember it, but it was defects.
Yes.
When you got what we call the welfare check, and you lived in this new thing, which came to be known as Section 8 of subsidized housing, but it was not the housing then. It was the projects. And they would come in, the defects caseworkers. They'd go to the closet to make sure there wasn't no men's clothes in there. Wow. They'd look under the bed for shoes and stuff.
You hear this?
And see, and that was, you could not, they wasn't giving no money, a little bit of money. But you see, old boy knew when they were coming, and she did too. So he gathered enough stuff, probably be right down the street watching them. And then he slipped back in. But if you were in there, you get your check cut off because no man could be in the house.
You hear that?
And it was tough. Looking all under the bed for him.
That's where I'm saying that people need to wake up and realize that our unity was an agenda. The separation of our families was an agenda, and this is not talked about enough because a lot of people like, man, I ain't really happy. You better stop believing everything you can't be trusting this. But you know what I trust? I trust people. I trust the ones that I know that grew up with this era of respect and growing up as the mentors were these great legacies. Our legacy right here in front of us. Got to watch Dr. Martin Luther King.
I played softball with him. I'll never forget.
Look at that!
Hey, and I played basketball with him. The jump shot was relatively new to basketball. Dr. King had what was the most popular shot around, and it was the set shot.
The set shot.
The set shot, when done correctly, you'd set yourself. That's why they call it a set shot. Boom. Some people did it, especially in girls basketball, they did the two-handed set. But you did the set shot or you did the layup. But the jump shot was new to the game. because the game was an inside game primarily.
Wow.
And you went on in there, and Dr. King would do that because he was fast as grease lightning. But he would do that set shot, and I promise you, I could have blocked every shot he shot. But man, who gonna block Dr. King's shot?
Right.
If he missed it, we say good shot. But he used to, the set shot. So, and he loved softball. We've got some pictures of him playing softball down at Dorchester. And he's pitching the softball, and we used to go down to Liberty Highway. There's now the Samuel Harris gym. That was the first gym we had. He would go down there, and we were one of the few places where he could come and use the gym. See, Dorchester came about because of a place called Highland, Tennessee, where they had their training school, but they put some trumped up charges about they were teaching communist doctrine. And Andrew Young told them about a place in Liberty County called Dorchester Academy. He is an ordained pastor of the Congregational Church, Andrew Young is. And so Andrew brought him down here, and this was the first job he had in the Civil Rights Movement, was here. Last week I did an interview with a young lady whose mother is from here, Kay Flowers, who used to be a reporter for Channel 11 in Atlanta. They're doing a documentary on Andrew Young, and they wanted to talk about his participation here in Liberty County when he was here. So they're going to come back and bring their cameras and stuff, and I'm going to go back through what I told them when I first met him there at Dorchester. But we had the greatest came through Dorchester. Every giant in the civil rights movement came through Dorchester. The Birmingham movement was planned at Dorchester. And I can remember us being taught, self-defense, because nonviolence was it. And Dr. King said, a coward can get mad and hit you. It takes a giant to take it. And sometimes I got a little doubtful of that, but that was the way it was.
That's what I was
Like non-violence.
You got no chance to spit on me.
Non-violent. No. You better step back before I knock you in your face. That's what I'm telling you.
But we were taught how to, as we were getting ready to go to Birmingham, and he was teaching us how to protect ourselves. Your vital organs, how to get into the fetal position, because we knew we were going to get beat. We knew what was going to happen. Julian Bond told me one time that he knew Dr. King was truly committed to nonviolence when he saw a guy walk up to him and telegraph what he was going to do. Reach back and slap him as hard as he could. And he said, Doc just fell back 3 or 4 steps and walked back up. Never a show of emotion or anger. That was Gandhi's way that broke the Indians, English in India. That was Gandhi's teaching. And so Dr. King was committed to nonviolence, and we used to run folk through the gauntlet, man. We would do all these things, spit on them, kick them, do everything to see what we could get out of them, because if they didn't come through the test, they couldn't go out in the field, because we knew that they wasn't going to be able to take the humiliation. The stuff. It's tough now when somebody walk up to you and spit in your face.
Yeah, I wouldn't have made it.
Not at all.
That's hard.
You know what? A lot of us young bucks, we saying we wouldn't have made it and we would have fought. But this is what I think about Eddie. Because I agree. I feel like I would have been bucking. Right? Back then, they would take out your whole family. I'll give you an instance. My father told me a story of him when he was with my mother, and they were riding in Savannah, and my father back then, he was doing this thing now, you know what I'm saying, he was out there living, but he had a Cadillac. He always had a Cadillac.
I remember the Cadillac.
Look.
I remember it.
So he was driving, and they were going through Savannah. He was around Henry Street, Bull Street, where the busy street where they have the shoppings and everything. He was turning there by Lincoln, and these guys, the GIs, went up to him, and they were just cussing, saying obscene things to him, and they called him the N-word.
These are soldiers.
Yes, it's back in the day now, you know. So, anyways, my daddy was like, my mama said, I was like, Ernest, no, don't do it. So, my dad got fed up, I guess, and they went to a stop sign, and my daddy rammed him. Right? He said, I knew I rammed them because I knew they were going to get out that car. So when they
rammed him in the lack?
He ran them with the lack. Back then, cars were built different.
Yeah, that's that metal.
Metal.
It ain't plastic. That's metal.
He hopped out quicker than they did. And as those guys got out, he went to wailing on them. All 3 GIs. That's what it is. So I had to corroborate that story. Like, Mama, Daddy wasn't it? Yes, he did. You know, a woman will tell on you.
Mm-hmm.
She'll tell on you when you're lying.
Yeah.
So he whooped those 3 GIs, right? And police officers pulled up. He said, just so happened there were black police officers that pulled up. And then the white ones came, but they made the black guys leave. So you get on, we gonna handle this, right? Mm-hmm. So now we in a tough situation.
Yeah.
He said, the guy said, tell me what happened. He said, they called me the N-word and I whooped them. He said, we know who you are. Get out of here, Mr. Mosley. Don't cause no more trouble no more. Now, the way that my father described it, he was like, Mark, yeah, I felt victorious. I felt like the baddest man. I was in front of my woman. I made her know I'm about that, right? But he said, what if I lost? What are those guys
in front of his woman? He got a good beat.
Yeah. Right. He got a good beating, but what would they have done to my mother?
That's right. That's it.
Yeah.
What would they have done to my mother?
You have to consider those around you.
Yes.
I remember we moved to the back of the house because I was out there so much. We didn't stay in the front part of the house because folk come by and hit the sign there. It was always a sign out front, bang, bang, bang. But those are the sacrifices you must make if you believe in something. The first African country to declare freedom was Ghana after the colonization, 1957.
1957.
Nkrumah. It was 1957. It's right. And that's Ghana, and it started the domino effect. And this was the first big international story that John Johnson, who owned Ebony Magazine, covered for Ebony Magazine, was the freedom of Ghana. The freedom of man. And you say the name right, because you can pronounce it. Say it again for me.
Kwame Nkrumah.
Kwame Nkrumah. He was the first premier.
He even tried to put more emphasis on it too. He tried to put a little stank on it when he said
He put that African American stank on it.
Put that little stank on it. He had the animation and everything.
I remember it, and I was so proud. 57. 2 things that shook me. I remember the 57 freedom. I was just a kid, 4th or 5th grade. But when I was in the 3rd grade, getting ready for 3rd grade, my mama had to cook on the weekend to make ends meet, even though she was teaching. And she came home on Sunday night and woke us up. Get up, about 11 o'clock. Got up. And she had gotten a copy of Jet magazine. It was one of the profound moments in my life. And she said, see what they did to this boy. There was this picture of Emmett Till on the cover in his casket. And his mama made him have an open casket where they had beat this 15-year-old boy where his head was 3 times his size. They had beat him so his face was disfigured. It was awful. Folk ripped by the casket and fainted in Chicago. But she showed me that. It did something to me. 3rd grade. And I looked at it. And sometimes, you know, we need, though, because there's only 1 or 2 things that'll happen at these profound moments in your life. You'd either give up and become subservient, or they give you strength and you want to stand up and make a difference. And we have to make a difference, and I don't want to upset anybody.
You're fine.
But we have to make a difference someplace besides cars and clothes.
Yes.
See, we look slick, we smell slick, we ride slick, and we broke slick.
Right.
You see, what we spend in material things, folk invest in things that will grow. I'm glad you're a realtor, Mark, because that is the single biggest in the African American community, that's the biggest single creator of wealth, generational wealth.
Yes.
Owns something. And you see, we have put too much emphasis on the play parties. We don't let children even be children anymore. No. Little old kids already got dreads. Little babies already got earrings. And when they gonna be children? They got plenty. They gonna be grown all their life. They got a short period of time to be a child. We dress them up like they grown. And folk call this old fogey, but I call it raising a powerful generation where kids get things based on what you give. Mm-hmm. Man, you want these tennis, then I'm going to tell you how much work you got to do to earn the money for me to buy them for you. Then you learn what you invest. You can't get no money in the bank if you don't put none in there. Mm-hmm. We got to quit. And then we spend young people want to be friends with their children.
Yep.
Don't be no friend. Hell, be a daddy or a mama.
Yes.
I ain't never told my boys I was their buddy. I ain't your buddy. I'm your daddy. And mamas want their daughters to look like them and go out to the club with them. I ain't never partied with none of my boys, and that don't plan to. That's a different level.
Yes.
We got to make examples of strong black men create strong communities. We got to get our kids out of jail. We got to teach them they get out happy that they were in prison. You know, they bragging about being incarcerated.
Yeah.
And nothing bothers me worse than to go up to the courthouse and see these orange suits coming from the jail with shackles. That's the new slave trade. Mm-hmm. You shuffling into the courthouse because you shackled down.
Hey, you know what's more awful about that is we've gotten to the point to where we feel like it's a victory. Yeah. Nowadays, when somebody goes and they do their time now, right? They got the cameras, they getting out. Yo, cuz, look what I got you. I got you a chain, baby. Yeah, you done did them years. Yeah, oh, bro, I got the bag of money. It's a victory dance now because now that's how we associate respect.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Got it mixed up.
Yeah, we got it mixed up, and there's nobody, like our legends can't even tell us anything anymore.
I don't want to hear it.
Because our families are so divided, right? And we're talking about the other parent or something like that so bad that how are you going to respect that person when you do see him in the street? How are you going to see another man or another queen or in the streets and have respect for them if you know that everybody bashing one another? It's only within us now. Check this out. I've never seen any other culture talking about, oh, I'm independent and I'm proud. I'm proud of being independent.
Our pride comes in the wrong places. See, when we go into public housing has never been a thing of shame.
No.
It's supposed to be a step up.
It's a leg up.
That's a stop on the way to something better. But when you fourth generation public housing, what's wrong with that picture?
Yes.
That's the mentality. That's a mindset.
It becomes a mind. And when everybody, grandma, remembered when it was food stamps, the grandbaby now got a credit card for food stamps.
Yes.
But everybody been on stamps. And how you on stamps and walking around with latest
iPhone?
These crooks got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got an iPhone, but you on stamps. You got to sacrifice. Man, get you a flip phone you can afford.
Yes.
And buy.
We don't see it like that.
We don't see it. We got material things mixed up. We mixed up. We got to become a proud people again. Got to be a proud people again.
Do you think we're too far gone? Do you think we're too far gone?
It ain't never too late to do right. We've lost the generation.
Remember the story of one of the people that used to work in my office?
Yes.
And I was able to get her 2 different checks. I got a company to pay her, and I'm paying her 2 checks from doing the same job, one job.
Yes.
This young lady came to me and said she doesn't want it.
I remember you telling me this. Yeah.
I'm like, why? She said, I'm going to lose my Medicaid.
Yeah. I'm making too much money.
Yep. I'm going to lose this. I was so
It's
disappointed.
that mentality.
So that, and she was a good worker, but that mentality, she just didn't get it. I said, look, this is like doubling your income, doing the same job. I said, don't worry. She said, no, they're going to cut off.
They cut off the easy one.
Look, you know that they've done studies on this. Get this, they've done studies on it. They took a grasshopper. A grasshopper could jump 3 feet in the air, right? So these scientists, what they did was they took the grasshopper and they put the grasshopper in a jar. All right, the grasshopper was in that jar. The grasshopper jumped up, pop, hit his head. Boom. Okay, went back to the ground. Grasshopper said, "Nah." Jumped up again, pop, hit his head. Went back in the jar. So after a while, the grasshopper would jump, but it wouldn't hit the lid. Right?
Yeah.
And then the scientists took the top off. Grasshopper jump.
Nope.
Wouldn't hit the lid. Look at all these researchers. Then they had a study of monkeys, right? And they put a banana up on top of the ladder. Okay? So what happened was they take the monkey, the first monkey would go up there, he'd get banana, he'll eat the banana, he's good. Second monkey they introduce, eat the banana, get the banana, he's good. Now, after the third monkey came in there, they started spraying water on it. Every time somebody touched a banana, they spray water on them. And they'd be like, what in the world? So eventually, they put the bananas in there, right? Monkeys wouldn't go. They wouldn't go up there because they got tired of being wet, getting sprayed. So they put a fourth monkey in. Fourth monkey's in there. He don't know nothing about it, but he see banana. He hungry. He go up to try to get the banana. Guess what the other monkeys do? They beat him. They beat that monkey into submission.
So it's almost like a sense of false self-preservation, because the grasshopper doesn't want to keep hitting his head.
There you go.
The monkeys think they looking out for this monkey.
Yeah, but they're looking out for themselves, and they're like, hey, no, this ain't how we do it.
This ain't it.
So when you got generations going through the same thing, right? Because I can remember at times when it was like melanated people didn't keep their money in banks because they couldn't trust the banks. They put it under their mattress. At a point, we didn't want to go get credit because we kept believing that the bank's going to deny us. So even when they open up the lines, we're like, oh no, it's a setup. It's a setup. So then we start teaching ourselves, look, you can't trust them. You can't do that. Even if the bank would look at you differently, which sometimes they do. But even the ones that are smart enough to accomplish the job, when they go toward to go get it, what do? Their confidence shoots down. It's like, no, because I know that I can't. They just gonna tell me no. I don't want to hear no. I want to hear no. I know you got friends, and I got friends that say, hey man, I'm trying to go get this and get this done and such and such. Well, man, just go. I can't talk to the white people. Like how is it that you got people in the community that say, nah man, you go talk to them, man, you know how to talk to them people, I don't know how to talk to them, man. I don't know how to talk to them white people.
It's called the scars of slavery. We still have scars from slavery because slavery legally ended January 1st 1863, but the scars carried on into the 20th century. The scars were sharecropping. The scars were chain gangs. The scars was Jim Crow. All these scars got embedded in people's hearts. And then you learn your place, and you're scared to get out of your place because there are repercussions for getting out of your place. So you have to really, the scars of slavery are hard to shake off because they scar your mind. And when your mind gets scarred, you're in a mess. You see, but some of us still don't believe we're as good as we are. And when your confidence is not there, when you don't have self-confidence, it's a difficult thing. That's why when I meet young boys and they say who they are, and young girls, they're 3rd, 4th grade. If I see them looking down, no. Look at me. Look me in my eyes when I speak to you. Learn to look at me. Because some kids like to do it like this. Nope. Get it up. Because that's the beginning of self-doubt
Yes.
and the lack of confidence. And my mama, thank God for her, was not a traditional mama in the 50s. My mama never played that thing about if you wanted to, you could speak up. Mama insisted that we talk about some current event before you got to eat. You had to show what you learned from yesterday. And then she would push us. And my mama never ever, a lot of times, black parents would shut children up, they couldn't talk. My mama wanted to hear. My mama, sometimes before she spanked me, she wanted to hear my side of the story. And I learned to perfect the story, not to get that butt wet. And that's your first lesson. And my mama would listen. And if a teacher talked about something I'd done, my mama wanted to hear my side. That was true with all our children. And sometimes my mama had to straighten, because I remember one teacher, I questioned something because I'd heard my mama say something different. And she told my mama that I had sassed. My mama said, "What did they do?" He said that was not right. I wasn't very diplomatic. And my mama told her he was right. That's not right. No. So my mama would speak up for us.
Right.
But she wouldn't do this foolishness showing up at the board education, jerking your neck and hand on the kimbo. Ghetto stuff.
Look,
If you got a complaint, organize it, think it out, and present it strongly,
Yes.
but respectfully.
yes.
Present it. You can't go in there and the very ones who raised the most came with the board. The kids see the worst attitudes at home.
Yeah.
Daddy, a boyfriend, uncle, every 6 months there's a new uncle. They getting a beating in front of them, a beat down, so they don't know nothing.
Yeah.
You should never, ever, ever. You can be single, need a life, but don't run a parade of men around your children.
No.
At the door, revolving door. Because your girls grow up do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your boys grow up with no respect for women.
Yep.
Right.
No respect for women.
It's
No
okay.
respect for women. We gotta respect them.
Yes.
And y'all, I'm telling you now, you do realize I got a race I got to run.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Look.
I believe I got 4 votes at this table, but I got to get out there. Yeah, I can get some more.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's been great. I have loved it. I love the discourse. We need to do more of it, and this is great. And I respect everybody at this table, and thank you, Mark, for
Yes, sir.
what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Thank
we
you.
need this in 2 little plugs I want to put out.
Look, we gonna plug. Go ahead.
Thank you for being our first guest too.
Yes.
That was
That's what I was gonna say too.
That was wonderful.
You are the first.
Yeah, I was the first one to come.
At the historic Dorchester.
Yeah,
So,
I want you all to do 2 things.
okay.
First, I want you to, every first Saturday,
Okay.
I have a meeting at Dorchester.
Yes, sir.
Doc been coming since I had it. I've been there 14 years.
Yes.
He'll miss some, but he'll come back.
Yeah, I do.
Y'all need to come. A lot of things have been birthed there.
Right.
Have no formal organization, ain't no president, no elections. We sit there and talk about issues and try to assign them to people who are already doing them. They're really little townhouse meetings, and I can keep my ear on the pulse.
Yes, sir.
Secondly, election night at 7:30. I'll be at JJ's.
Okay.
So come on in. I don't do finger food. I don't eat because I'll have a full meal there. Come on in.
Look, and
do
what
it.
we're gonna do, guys. Look, I know you kings and queens. I see you guys. We thank you for viewing. What we're gonna do now is we're about to have the last words from the kings. All right.
Yeah.
And we're gonna start off with our legacy right here in the flesh. We're gonna start off with our legacy because it's so much that he's taught us in this short period of time, and it's just been an honor. So, Representative Al Williams, if you would, right there at that camera, whatever you would like to tell the people, our kings and queens out there, please do so at this time as your last words on the show.
All I can say is do what you can to build the community. Be a contributor, not a taker. Do something good for somebody. And you can do that without fanfare. And be a good citizen, but be a strong person. When you see injustice, speak up against it. But know what you're talking about when you speak up. Most of all, love your community, love your children. Take care of them and teach them. Do business whenever you can with African American businesses and African American professionals. Do business with them. I'm delighted to be here. I've looked forward to it. It's great, and you all know what I always tell you. This is the best day.
Best day of our lives. Look. Hey, King Alway, is it? What would you like to tell the people today, sir?
I just want to
That's the last
again thank Mr. Williams for being here again. I remember when we started this something last year. He was the first guest, and I look up to you, sir. And I really appreciate all you've given to everybody. And you've taught me a lot of stuff. You just you don't realize it. But I've learned a lot from you, and I've learned a lot from my brothers here. And it's kind of motivates me to want to do more and give more. And I'll really do that.
Thank you.
Again, thank you very much, sir.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We're gonna go to King Myers. Look, King Myers, what do you got to say? I know. Hey, look, you should have known he was soaking it up. Y'all.
Yeah, it was a lot. Like being from here, but not necessarily born here. You've taught me a lot of history, which is similar to the quote I said yesterday.
Yes.
Our past is our present, and our present is our past.
Our past, yes.
And I appreciate you for giving that knowledge to me as a young black man.
Thank you.
And not just me, but everyone who clued in, and for those who later on will look at this episode. So that's pretty much really all I have to really say. Is just thank you for being who you are.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a mentor. You know, Donald Lovett is mine. That's my uncle.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
so
Great
so he was my person when I grew up. You know, to build to where I am now in this world, and my mindset and my thought process. So I appreciate you being that for him.
All right.
You know, so it's like you're mine too.
All right.
All right.
King Boston.
Well, I mean, I'm like King Myers. I spent this whole segment just soaking it up, and I just find it a privilege whenever I'm in your presence. I find myself doing more listening than speaking. Not because I don't have anything to say, but because I'm just inundated with the information and wisdom and the free game, which is why it's just a blessing to have you on this show. You know, again, you were our first guest. I mean, you believed in us when a lot of people was kind of like, you know, you kind of put the stamp on it, you know, and you know, we're definitely grateful for that. I mean, our birthdays are a day apart. I've had a chance to actually hang out and just really build with you. You know, and you could have been anywhere in the world.
Yep.
You know,
that is true.
But you were there. You know, and that's not something that I take lightly. You know, I admire you as a leader.
Thank you.
You know, I'm in like politics. You know, partly because I've watched men like you.
Yes.
You know, and Mr. Lovett, and you know, watching my mother vote, and you know, just. It all you know made it come full circle, and I'm just grateful to have you. You are like I said earlier, a living legend, and you know I want to give you your flowers, even though we don't have none today.
No,
but I do want to give you your verbal flowers.
All right, thank you. At my funeral 40 years from now, you say that.
Yes, right. Look, Al, I gotta say this. You really you inspire so many. I'm gonna give you a quick one, and I'm gonna end it. But you inspire so many. The first time, because I know sometimes you got to feel people out. Because when you saw me, I was up in the age. You're like, well, what has this boy done since then, right? And then I got into real estate, and we had a luncheon, right? Let me tell you something. I said, Mark, I forgot my jacket. Listen to me. I was Johnny on the spot. I was going to get that jacket.
Yeah.
You hear me? Look, I got that jacket. And I said, here. Okay, here you go. Oh, thank you. He put it on, right? It was time for him to speak. He took it off. I said, I got you, Uncle Al. He said, yeah, I was going to give you my jacket anyway. So I folded it up. Now, let me tell you, that was a moment to me. All right? You were speaking somewhere in an engagement, and Mitchell Boston was sitting beside you. Let me tell you how important this is. I'm gonna tell you how we get to be. I'm gonna tell you how we get to be giddy kids. Like, ooh, this is how much of a legend you are. You got up before you went up to speak. You said, "Here, hold my wallet."
Yeah.
Do you know?
That wallet was heavy too.
Do you know how much it is for us to be grown men, but to talk about it with pride? Like, that's right. He knew I wasn't taking $1 from him. You hear me?
Trust that right here.
That's how you know.
Yeah.
We're not just talking just to boost your head. You are a legend.
Real.
It is important. Everything you do is important. Seriously. And I thank you. I thank you so much. We're so honored. Seriously, we are so honored. And I hope you come back.
Yeah, I'll always come back. I'm honored.
Yes,
Let me say this and I'm through.
Yes, sir.
1 week from Saturday, I'll be on St. Simon's Island, and I will get my Igbo name
Yes.
from the Igbo Nation.
Please let us know. We're going to be there. I'll be there.
He'll be there.
Yes, sir.
I'll get my Igbo name on St. Simon, where the Igbos
Yeah.
got off the boat. And rather than be
The
slaves,
Eagles are part of Nigerian people.
Nigerian people, they walked out in the marsh and drowned themselves, a bunch of them.
Wow.
Death before dishonor. They didn't want to be slaves. And the legend is that on the Evo landing there, on a quiet night, you can hear the moans and the groans of the Evo warriors that died rather than be slaves. So I'm going to be honored to have an Igbo name.
Wow.
Wow. Congratulations.
So, look,
That's awesome.
we got to end the episode, y'all. I know we wanted to stay in and chill out and have a good time.
Look, I'm waiting for the autobiography.
Yeah,
I think
it's coming.
it's appropriate.
It's coming.
I'm writing it, and I hope to have it ready by Black History Month in February. And Donald and I have agreed. Donald is going to do a play to introduce the book on my life.
Wow.
I'm going to produce a play on
That's
my
major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you need me, I can't play you. I'm way too low. But if you need me, I'm there for any other role.
All right.
So let me know.
All right.
Me too.
To everyone out there, Kings and Queens, we thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't forget, every first Saturday of the month at 8 o'clock at the Dorchester Center.
At your church, right in the back.
At Midway Congregational Church, right there in the back. Look, feel free to stop by. And also, don't forget about Magnum Pest Control, Leaf Filters, and Prime Care Medical.
Hallelujah.
Look at there. Look, you got the best in the business at
I
the
do
table.
business with all of them.
Yes, sir. And
That's
as
facts.
you can see on State Representative's shirt, he is voted. Do not forget to vote. Y'all don't understand how important it is. We about to bring it back in Liberty County hard. We're not just going to have the regulars voting. We're going to get these new registrations, and we're really going to get adamant.
And tomorrow's the last day of early voting, isn't it?
Last day of early voting. Then it's only the 21st.
Yep.
It's next week, Tuesday.
Next week,
And
Tuesday.
during early voting, you could go to any precinct.
Yeah, early voting, you can go to any precinct.
One of two are open, one in Hinesville and one here in Midway.
Yes, sir.
But you got to go to your precinct on the 21st.
On 21st. So, Kings and Queens, thank you for watching. Thank you for all the love, all the respect. And we just sat down with a legend right here, a living legend. It's your boy, King Condor, the People's Champ, Black Kings Free Game, and we're out.